Welcome back to Draft Queens Off the Clock, the official podcast of the Draft Queens Fantasy League. Because when we said, let's take it out of the group chat, we took that literally. I'm Kristin.
And I'm Kat, and I just want to give a quick thank you to our favorite homeboy, Winston Alexander Marshall, who threw us a nice plug on his YouTube channel, Blurs in the Hood. Thank you so much. And if you guys don't follow Winston at Swaggy Blurred and Blurs in the Hood, please do. We'll put those up for you guys. And Kristin, let's kick it into week 4 in review.
Let's do it. In our week 4 in review, lots of exciting mix-ups here. We had the Steelers pulling out a win against Minnesota across the pond in good old Dublin. The Broncos dominated the Bengals. The Colts were kicked out of the undefeated club by the Rams, while the Bills gained a 4-0 season against the Saints, our only remaining 4-0 team in the AFC, complemented by the Eagles in the NFC. And most notably, in week 4, we had a shocking tie between the Cowboys and the Packers, with Green Bay's McManus nailing a last-second field goal to force an OT. However, both teams traded empty possessions and settled for a draw. And I'll be honest, I didn't even know that was an option.
You know what? I actually didn't know it was either, because I thought that they changed some of the rules for overtime this season. With maybe we'll have to go back and after review next week. But didn't they change it where it was 15 minutes? Now it's 10 minutes, and then first to score wins.
Something like that. But I guess no winners or losers in that one.
So a tie, and we didn't even know it could happen, so that's cool. In my week 4, just want to start off with some notable injuries. I hate to start off. Honestly, I should put that at the end. Oh my God. Every week, I feel like every single week we have really solid players who go down. And this week we'll start with Tyreek Hill. Ooh, that was a tragic season-ending knee injury where he was carted off the field. And it is, not only did he dislocate his knee, he also tore a bunch of ligaments in his knee. I imagine that's at least 1 to 2 surgeries.
We knew he wanted out of the Dolphins, but we didn't know that bad.
I didn't know he'd be taking a swim out of Miami and trying to find another home somewhere else.
His new home is the PT office.
Yeah, I hope, you know what, at least Miami is pretty, and they probably have really pretty physical therapists that he could probably knock up for another kid, so who knows. But, I'm a little bit disappointed because I was kind of not hinging my fantasy team on Tyreek Hill, because that's stupid, but I was hoping that he'd have a renaissance type of career. He had a bad season last season. I was hoping it'd be better this year, so back to the drawing board for me, 2 weeks in a row. That sucks. And then next up, I've got Lamar Jackson. He's out for 2 to 3 weeks with a hamstring injury. I anticipate if Lamar can get back in 3 weeks, I would be surprised.
And so to get back to a Lamar Jackson hamstring.
Exactly. A 2-time MVP running quarterback hamstring. Who knows? So that's a huge blow for the Ravens, who are already coming off a kind of disappointing start to their season.
I was expecting to see him back at the Super Bowl, but it's not looking that way.
And then in the NFL, we've got the Giants got their first win with Jackson Dart at the helm. His first pro start was pretty awesome. He threw a touchdown. He ran one in. He had a pretty cool touchdown dance.
We weren't sure what to expect from him. So, I guess that's a pleasant surprise.
With a name like Dart as the quarterback, I would hope that he could be at least a decent passer, and he proved to be pretty good. So you know what? I'll take that. It was a nice win for the Giants. However, it sucks, and it's a long-term L because wide receiver Malik Neighbors is also now out with an ACL injury. So the questions kind of remain is are they going to continue with Dart? Are they going to go back to Wilson? And will Dart be able to throw those darts back at the new receivers?
He's only as good as having a target to throw to. And now that's a little TBD.
Some major firsts this week with the Bucks kicker, Chase McLaughlin connecting on a 65-yard field goal.
That's wild.
Isn't that in 65 fucking yards? Now, for anyone who's not good at math, a yard is 3 feet. So we're talking 200 feet. This is a 200-foot kick. 65 yards is the longest kick in NFL history when they're playing inside or outside. I don't know what I read. Again, we'll come back to after review later, but it's one of the longest kicks in modern NFL history. 65 yards. That is insane. So with that, we will go to our after review section. Kristin, where are we going?
Welcome to After Review, where, after review, we admit where we were wrong. Well, it's a good thing we weren't. After review, the rulings on the field stand. A+ commentating all around.
Great. I love when we're right. That's awesome.
And, if you disagree, take it to the comments. Now we'll take it to this week's biggest winners and losers. Who are we going to first, Kat?
Well, we got to go with our Draft Queens League, and I got to throw a biggest winner onto this with my girl Steph. I guess her dad's strategy of going rookie base for her draft worked. Finally paid off in week 4. Now, it took 4 weeks, but for all of you guys who aren't in our league, Steph had during our draft have the opportunity to draft either Jetney or Saquon Barkley as her running back 1. And she chose Jetney, which is really interesting given the fact that she is a Philly girl and an Eagles fan.
It's a wild choice. I mean, look, I love a rookie game. My first season of fantasy, I think my number 2 pick was Najee Harris, and it worked out really well. And I've sort of attempted to dabble into that strategy in the coming years to much less success. So I love to see someone winning with that strategy.
Oh, winning's a stretch, man. This is just a 1
playing
week
hard with that strategy.
Let's just roll that back here. This is just a 1 week win. However, she did jump from 9th to 3rd or something. She jumped ahead of me in the standings after that monster win with Jetney. So much so that I had to text her about it. So good job, Steph.
Good job, Steph.
And then my other winner this week is you, Kristin. Congratulations.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. With having the biggest blowout of this week at a plus 55 against our girl Nadia. Congratulations on that. Absolute biggest winner.
Yeah.
Was it a sweep or was it not for you?
It was not quite a sweep, thanks to those 40 whiners failing to the Sunshine State Slashers in our bi-week Blues League, losing by a hearty 18 points. But that is more of a you problem than a me problem, so it's all right. Looking at my winners and losers, the J Crew continues to rack up points and dubs, currently ranked first in the league by a hearty margin in points after a tight match against Luann's Rubber Buckies. And I'm going to give the L to Hannah, who decided to prioritize her sleep over checking her lineup before a 6:30 a.m. kickoff in Dublin. Had she replaced Warren in her RB slot, she may have pulled out a win over a Lamar-less second half for Colette. Now we got to ask, Lamar, are you going to change your team name?
Here's the thing about team names. I think having a really good one going into the season will really give you some solid help. I think give you some good juju. However, if shit changes, you got to change it.
Yeah.
Bucky Irving is also now. Exactly. Come on, adapt. Bucky Irving is now also injured. So I don't know if the Rubber Buckies are going to be changing that name, but yeah. So who knows? Going back to the NFL though, one of my biggest losers and probably the hugest loser for a while are the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Ouch. With losing Lamar Jackson, even if it's for 2 to 3 weeks and having their 1-3 start, that's not great. And a once thought to be Super Bowl contender, it just keeps getting worse and worse luck for them. At this point, I just don't see a world where they get into the playoffs by winning the division. However, I've been wrong before, so who knows?
And, Bree, we'd love to hear from you. Come on the pod and tell us how you're feeling about your Ravens. We'd love to have your perspective on this. Looking at some of our other losers in the league, we currently have the Jets, Titans, and the Saints still winless coming into week 5. Now, Drew Brees might need to take a trip down to NOLA and remind them how to rebuild brick by brick with his own 2 hands if they want to turn this season around.
And now we're going to take it to the fan favorite segment, Kristin's Zaddy Corner.
Kat, I think the Zaddies are listening to us. Zaddy Dave Canales went from an 0-2 start to a 30-0 win over Atlanta, and at the time of filming, we saw Zaddy Robert Saleh with a game-winning defensive play to give the Niners, a dub over the Rams. And with that, it seems our next Zaddy might also need a little extra spark. Welcome to the Zaddy Corner, Mr. Matt LaFleur. Now, he may not shout or smash clipboards, but don't let that calm exterior fool you. Behind a perfect fade and a fitted quarter zip is a man with an icy composure. and an offensive precision. Now, sure, the Packers started hot and they got kind of humbled by the Browns, but history says the Zaddy corner works in mysterious ways. Maybe all Green Bay needs to get back into rhythm is a little side eye from a man who's never had a bad hair day. And apparently hotties roll in packs. LaFleur was once roommates with original Zaddy Sean McVay while coaching in Washington and served as best man in Robert Saleh's wedding, back when the two were nicknamed the Piss Boys as glorified interns at Central Michigan along with McDaniels and fallen Zaddy Shanahan. So will the daddy blessings strike again, or will the cheese keep curdling in Green Bay? Either way, we'll be watching. All right, we'd like to introduce our newest segment, Dow's Dimes, where Kat is going to take us through some of the best passes of the week. Go for it, Kat.
I just want to give a shout out to my girl, Heather Lorenzi, who gave me this idea. Thank you, Heather. My fellow Gemini, also my fellow 49ers fan. This one's for you. Taking it to the NFC West, it's not a surprise that I am not the biggest fan of the Rams. I don't really like anybody in the NFC West, given the fact that I am a 49ers fan. Kristin knows this as a Seahawks fan. However, kudos when kudos are given. Gotta give this cred. Matthew Stafford dropped an 88-yard touchdown pass to Tutu Atwell in their game against the Colts. 88 yards. Again, I'm going back to the math. 88 is 88 times 3. That's like 250 feet. Math, you're Harvard. You tell me.
256.
Thanks. Proven genius over here. Yes, 256 foot pass to Tutu Atwell in that game. Now, the funniest part about this, and I don't know how much this is true, I just read it like very quickly on some interview, blog, whatever. Matthew Stafford even admitted he has never even passed a Tutu Atwell in his entire career as a Ram. So again, I don't know if that's actually true. I just like quickly saw it, so who knows? We may have to come back for after review.
The chemistry was chemistrying.
I mean, look, like 88 motherfucking yards. That is huge. And on top of that, not only was it huge, it was also the longest pass that he's ever made in his entire career. So that was fantastic. A first ever Dow's Dimes, number one. And then number two, we got to give it to my boy, Baker Mayfield. I love Baker Mayfield. He's awesome. He throws a 79-yard touchdown pass to rookie receiver Egbuka, who records another record for the Bucs, having the longest reception for a rookie. That is 79 yards. Can you hit me with the math? 79 times 3?
No.
Times 3. It's something around 240 because 80 times 3 is 240. So let's go with that. Something like that.
Yeah.
240 feet, man. That is huge. 79 yards. Again, these are massive. This is like the whole length of the field. So I don't know what's going on in the water in LA or in Tampa Bay, but damn. Those passes are crazy. So for the first Dow's Dimes, 88 and 79, holy moly.
Now let's take it to the 2-minute warning, our thoughts and feelings for next week. Kat, take it away.
We've got another international game for the Vikings this week in London, the London games. I don't really understand why they keep picking the Vikings to be overseas, but here we are. Maybe it's because their origins are Norse. Who knows? I guess the question for me is, are they going to go 0-2 overseas, or are they going to make it 1-1 before coming back to the U.S.? Things are just really not improving for the Browns. With Joe Flacco at the helm, he has not done well. So for week 5, they're going to be switching gears and going to Dylan Gabriel for the starting job. Is he going to be able to do better than his older, maybe soon to be retired predecessor in week 5's London game against the Vikings, or is he going to brown out? Much like his team has been doing. So we will see. And then in the Draft Queens League, will sleeper agent Luann finally get a bounce back against you, Kristin? I don't know.
It's tight.
She's in 9th. It's tight. It's why I'm having it here. It's because the score is going to be really tight. She's in 9th, but I still think her team's better than that.
And I can't say, it doesn't rub me as like a little unfair to keep Minnesota and Europe for this whole stint of international games. The benefit to your body of adjusting to that time zone, like, cannot be overstated. So a little bit of an odd choice to maintain them. We'll see how it shakes out. And I can't admit it wouldn't be like a little bit funny if they went 0-2 in that circumstance. It also seems like some of our other players may have finally picked up their prescription football pills. And I'm expecting a few high-scoring wins this week from some of our rougher start teams against their continue to be rough season competition, including the Cowboys over the Jets and the Chiefs over the Jags. And with Jaden Daniels back at the helm of the J Squad, although shout out Brett for sticking with the bit with a Geno Smith. Kat, I'll be watching your matchup with her, and maybe my own with Luann, depending on whether or not I even have a team to play.
And after week 4, we've got some shakeups in the standing. We've got 3 tiers of 4. In our 3s and 1s, our top group, we've got Brett, Colette, Steph moving into 3rd, and Kat, myself. And then in our middle tier, our 2s and 2s, we've got Kristin, Megan, Bree, and Jasmine. We've got Luann in 9th, Hannah in 10th, Nadia, and Tia rounding out the pack. So stay
Ooh,
tuned.
a fall from grace from Tia, who I believe was like undefeated for like the first 6 or 7 weeks last year.
Yeah. And you know what though, to give Tia some grace, like Jamar Chase has not performed the way that she anticipated picking him first and thinking he was going to have the season he was going to have, and Joey B going out. It's just been unfortunate for her. So I know that Tia's better than that. So it sucks that, but that's how fantasy works. Like you got like I said, you get players who get injured and then it shits on your whole season. So like
And
Tia, we're
still early. It's still early.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that, we'll see where we're at after week 5.
And that about wraps it up for episode 4 of Draft Queens Off the Clock. A special thank you and shout out to the Blurred's neighborhood for supporting the show and our silly musings about football. We're glad to have you here.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for tuning into week 4. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell us in all the comments everything that you want to see. I'm now starting to read them after 3 weeks. So if you have something fun to say, I'm definitely going to answer. Please let us know what you want to hear. And it's going to help with our decision making for future episodes. So appreciate that. Draft Queens.
Go sports. Draft Queens out.